Hi, I'm Grace Fellows, and I'm going to teach you how to play Sawdust and Diamonds by Joanna Newsom. There is an amazing transcription of this song, like the sheet music, and I'll link that to you, which is how I learned it. So big thanks to Double Wuzzy, I guess, for transcribing this on the Joanna Newsom Transcription Project website. But I know not everybody reads music. I wanted to give people who don't know how to read music an opportunity to learn this by ear and by sight. And I just wanted to break it down for you and show you all the work-ins. So let's get into it. Also, thank you so much for your support on all my covers and stuff. I appreciate it so much. So I just wanted to say that, and please like and subscribe and comment and stuff if you are enjoying my content. So I would definitely not call this an easy song. It's a bit of a challenge, but I do think that if you slow it down and practice the patterns really steadily, you can get it going after a little while. It took me a couple of weeks to get these patterns going, so don't feel discouraged if it doesn't click right away. But yeah, I'm excited to show you how this goes. So there are basically 4 main sections. There's the intro, which is also the outro, and the intro has a little extra stuff, whereas the outro is the plain version of it. There's the main section, and that has some variations, which I'll show you. And then there's the slow lip of fire, that section that comes back 3 different times with different lyrics. And then the last one is the why the long face loop thing, which is also its own little pattern. So each section pretty much, other than the intro outro, has these interlocking patterns, these repeated rhythm things, and they kind of just go across different chords or have added or subtracted parts into them. First, I'm going to just show you the simple version of all 4 parts. And then at the end, I'm going to show you the variations that come into it. So let's start at the simplest place, which is the chord at the beginning. That's the first chord. From the top. And then you pick up this pinky and move this shape down of the flight. So G, D, G, C, F, B flat. E flat, B flat, E flat, C, F. So, from the top of the flight of the white stairs, through the rest of my life, do you wait for me there? And then of course the intro kind of keeps going and there's some extra stuff, but I'm not going to show you that right away. I'm going to just show you the second pattern. So that's the main pattern kind of, and it's basically sextuplets or 2 triplets. So 3 and then 3. So this hand the entire time is just going. And then this one is doing a pattern of F, D, B flat, D, F, D, B flat, D, G, D, B flat, D, G, B, D flat, D. And so together it's like this. And with lyrics, drop a bound off of the dock, blot it out in the sea. So that's slowed down. The third section is the slow lip of fire. So the chords for this are F, E flat, B flat, G minor, and C minor. The transcription says there's a little bit of A flat in there, and I just kind of leave it out because it goes by quickly enough that I don't think it really makes a difference, to my ear at least. But basically it's the same general pattern, but here's the F shape, and here's the bass line for F. So it's F, C, F, C, F, A. And then a slow lip of fire moves and then you go to the E flat chord, B flat, E flat, G, E flat, B flat, E flat. Then to B flat, F, B flat, D, F, B flat. F in another inversion, so A, C, F instead. Same B flat bass, but another version here too, so G, B flat, E flat. And then it goes to G minor. G, D, G, D, G, A, G, D. And then the bass line becomes octaves. An added chord shape of C minor here, but otherwise they're all ones that you'll recognize, so they're like, enough of this terror, we deserve to know light and grow ever more lighter and lighter. You should have seen me through, but I could not undo that desire. So the whole section is like this. And a slow whip of fire moves across the prairie with precision, while somewhere with your pliers and glue you make your first incision. And in a moment of almost unbearable vision, doubled over with the hunger of lions, hold me close, cooed the dove who was stuffed now with sawdust and diamonds. And the sections have different transitions out, so I'm going to go over those later. The fourth section is Why the Long Face section, which is probably the most complicated one to teach by rote, as in by just showing you. If you do have any music reading skill, this might be a good one to look at the paper for. The other ones you can kind of get by looking at. It starts with this little flourish thing, so. And then it starts this pattern of dotted eighth note against eighth note. And the right hand is the same the entire time. It does this loop of. So just F, D, D, F, F, D, D, F, which seems so simple by itself, and it is just not against the bass line. So the bass line pattern is similar to, it's just a 1, 5, 3, 5 kind of pattern. It starts with C minor twice, E flat twice, then B flat octave, B flat and F, D and F, B flat and F. And each of those only once instead of twice like the first time. And that's kind of like a transitional period. And then when the singing comes in for I Wanted to Say, then it becomes this loop of C minor, and twice on B flat. So 1, 5, 3, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1, 1, 5, 3, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1. And against the right hand pattern, that sounds like this. And so it loops around in a really interesting way, and the right hand will become offset, so it doesn't always land in the same place against the pattern. It takes, I believe, 3 cycles of the right hand pattern for it to line back up with the left hand pattern. So that's probably the craziest part of this song. The hardest to learn, took me the longest for sure. It's simple in a certain way, it's slower than the other part, but it is just rhythmically complex. Okay, so now the whole section I will just sing and show you. songs a long face. Burrow, buck and bray, songs a long face. Sing out, swallow your sadness and eat your cold clay just to lift your long face. And though it may be madness, I will take to the grave your precious long face. And our bones they may break and our souls separate, why the long face? And our bodies recoil from the grip of the soil, why the long face? And I believe you end on the D here, which puts you in a pretty good place to go back to, which is the next section after that. So that's all 4 basic sections. I'm gonna go ahead and show you all the variations, which might take a little while, but if there's something I know about my subscribers, it's that you guys like to know things. So let's start with the variation on the intro outro. From the top of the flight of the wide, white stairs through the rest of my life, do you wait for me there? And then we go, there's a little pickup like this. So that's an octave G down there, you can't see, but, and this same chord. But then you jump up here. So together. The first measure, and then it goes. So the octave E flat, and then B flat and F, E, and while that E happens, you also play third measure, G, this chord again, G, and here. So B flat and F down to E. So 6th measure. So bass line's going 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2, and this is going like this against it. So that same chord, and then F, B flat, C, F. Seventh measure. I don't know if this is a helpful way to learn it, but I don't know how else to show you. Then G here, and then an octave down. 1 2 3 1 2 3. So you play the B flat, and then when you hit F, add the G again. Next measure. So there's a little pickup F here, and then back down to there. Next measure after that is the low G again, and then this G and this B flat. So in time. And the last measure of this section so that's F, C, B flat, F, C. And then you go right into. I'm going to play that in time for you. It's not the easiest thing to get by looking at it probably, but I hope this helps. There's a bell in my ear. There's the wide, white roar. Drop a bell down the stairs. Hear it fall forevermore. Hear it fall forevermore. So that's the variation on the intro. The variations on the main section are kind of straightforward. At a certain point, you'll add, instead of just those two notes, also the F in there, and then when you go to the G minor chord, the G, so like this. And that happens on "There's a light in the wings as a system of strings from the side while they swing, see the wires, the wires, the wires," all the way until "In the moment I slept," as well as "And then the system of strings tugs on the tip of my wings, pat from cardboard and old magazines." That section also uses this variation, up until, again, "Slow Lip of Fire." And the last time it comes up is "And darling, we will be fine, but what was yours and mine appears to me a sandcastle the gibbering wave takes." But it changes that, but it's all just the same. Cool. And then another variation, which just happens once, when she says "Push me back into a tree, buy my buttons with salt, fill my long ears with bees," you just bring it an octave up. Push me back into a tree. Just like that, really straightforward. The last variation is the hardest. And none of these variations are something you have to learn. You can just play the bass pattern the whole time and it'll sound completely fine. But these are just like what make it a little spicier. So this one is the hardest for me. On the B flat chord, second inversion, she goes for the first bar, that shape, and then for the second bar to that D, which I can barely reach. And then when it goes to the G minor, it's so still these two notes, but then G, B flat, C, B flat, G, B flat, C, B flat, D, B flat, D, D, B flat, G, D. Uneven little pattern there, but all together it would sound like this. And I hear a noise from the hole. 7 days out to sea. And it is the damnable bell. And it tolls. Well, I believe that it tolls. It tolls for me. And it tolls for me. Though my wrists and my waists goes back to normal. So this variation happens on that section. Then I hear a noise from the whole 7 days out to sea. And it also happens on "But if it's all just the same, then will you say my name in the morning so that I know when the wave breaks." And that's all the times that happens. And I believe that is all the variations on the sort of main section, the second section. So then let's talk about the "Moment I Slept," "Slow Lip of Fire," that section. The main part of it is the same all 3 times, but the end, it's different each time. So the first ending, which goes into "Push me back into a tree, bind my buttons with salt," the part up here, as you might imagine, the bass line goes up there so that you can get there. So it goes like, "And the moment I slept, I was swept up in a terrible tremor." We remember this, but no longer bereft, I shook and I couldn't remember. Then the furthermore shake drove a murdering stake in, and I cleft me right down through my center. And I shouldn't say so, but I know that it was then or never. So it goes here, which is where I stopped before, and then we repeat that pattern one more time. But then we go up here. That's it, just B flat, D, B flat, and then you start here. Push me back into a tree. Simple. The second ending goes into the Why the Long Face section, so that's the slow lip of fire. Slow lip of fire moves across the prairie with precision. While somewhere with your pliers and glue you make your first incision. And in a moment of almost unbearable vision, doubled over with the hunger of lions, hold me close, cooed the dove who was stuffed now with sawdust and diamonds. So that's where I stopped before. Again, it repeats up until there, and then this is different. It goes. That's it, just that little arpeggio, and then you do. So it gets you right into that section. The last ending after I wasn't born of a whistle, which goes into the end. I wasn't born of a whistle or milk from a thistle at twilight. Now I was all horns and thorns, sprung out fully formed, knock-kneed and upright. So enough of this terror, we deserve to know light and grow ever more lighter and lighter. You should have seen me through, but I could not undo that desire. And so then here's the sort of extra section I haven't even shown you, but that's the desire part. So this one doesn't even really have its own little ending, it just has this other section at the end. Oh, desire, which is just the F chord and E flat chord from before, and then landing on the G minor. Oh, desire. Oh, desire. And then it goes to an F here. Desire. Beginning chord, but this time broken up. From the top of the flight of the white stairs, through the rest of my life, do you wait for me there? So I'm going to try to make some kind of chart that goes along with the lyrics so that you can refer to sections of this video and then match them up with lyrics in case this is really confusing, which I would not be offended if this is very hard to follow. There's just a lot of info. So I want to make it easier for you and create some kind of visual aid that doesn't rely on music notation so that you guys can see that if you do not read music. Because with a song like this, a chord chart is just not really that helpful, in my opinion. Like, it's cool to know what harmony is being played, but it just doesn't really do anything for, like, actually playing it, you know? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I had a blast doing this, and I feel like it was maybe interesting, hopefully helpful. I definitely enjoyed trying to figure out how to teach something so complicated and many-faceted. Please show me if you cover this. I would love to see more covers of this song because it's just amazingly beautiful and haunting and perfect in my opinion. Bye.